Evil Planet.
I would have been too, honestly. Ugh.
All right. So originally I was conceiving of this episode as only good stories, but we're gonna have to front load it with like some fairly good stories and then talk about some other stuff too.
Instead
don't
of
know.
Evil Planet, it would have been Happy Planet.
I mean, see, we have to talk about like multiple old people dying of cancer, so I don't know. The first story that we have, Anonymous, or whoever the fuck still claims to be anonymous these days online, has hacked a company called Global X Air. It's one of the main airlines that the Trump administration is using as part of its deportation efforts. We have an article here from 404. So the hackers have targeted Global X Air and stolen what they say are flight records and passenger manifests of all of its flights, including those for deportation. The data, which the hackers contacted 404 media about and other journalists unprompted, could provide granular insight into who exactly has been deported on Global X flights, when and to where, with Global X being the charter company that facilitated the deportation of hundreds of Venezuelans to El Salvador. This information has already been used to help track some of these deportations, figure out, like where people went. Certain people, I think, are still unknown at a certain point, people who'd been sent to CCOT, but now more information is being learned through this hack and a lot of other work being done by journalists and activists. This is actually the message that was posted to Global X's website. Anonymous has decided to enforce the judge's order since you and your sycophant staff ignore lawful orders that go against your fascist plans. That was what they put on the website. Anonymous, well known for its use of the Guy Fawkes mask, is an umbrella some hackers operate under when performing what they see as hacktivism. So not a super lengthy story there in terms of like information, but I think it is a good sign that people are actually like fighting back against what's going on in whatever ways that they can.
Yeah, very, very important, because someone brought up today that these people might be a mix of legal immigrants, and also some of these people might be like citizens too.
Yes, yeah, so I think it's been confirmed that there have been citizens of America sent there.
It's nightmarish.
Yeah, it is a nightmare.
Yeah. So someone might be a immigrant from Venezuela, but they might have gotten their green card, but ICE doesn't care. No due process. Just, hey, we have you in our system. We're gonna snatch you up, and we're gonna ship you to I think it's Texas and Louisiana.
Yeah, they have a lot of detention centers there.
Yeah, and we're going to decide whether or not to ship you to CCOT.
Texas is just becoming like an epicenter of like horror.
Yeah. I'm very disappointed in my my home state, Louisiana. I did not think that they would do something like this, but
are you surprised?
I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised and I'm not surprised at the same time, if that makes any sense.
Like you're surprised, but you're thinking like, man, I really shouldn't be.
Yes.
Like you didn't think it would get this bad, or
no. Louisiana is very corrupt, shocker, but I thought that they would at least try and like be corrupt within the law, like they would just
wait, what? No, what do you mean?
What I mean is like just exploit, the legal system. But
is that within the law?
I guess, yeah. It's kind of like how
crime is legal now, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Like like how rich people like exploit the tax code. I thought it would be more stuff like that. Things that on the book should not be legal, but they get away with it because of X, Y, or Z.
You're basically talking about like legal loopholes. But the thing is now is they just like across America, and it's I think this attitude is kind of seeping out into like other countries and other cultures too. Like, they just don't give a shit. Like, they just openly don't give a fuck. Like, they're doing this out in the open now, and they see that, like, nobody's really doing anything to stop them. Like, the system as it exists essentially protects them.
I mean, what can you do? Most people have to, like, clock in 9 to 5,
All right,
go to their job and take care of their family.
A lot of people are going to take away various things from me saying this, but all I'm going to say is I hear a lot of people share this sentiment. And I'm going to I'm not insinuating that anybody should do anything like this, okay, for legal reasons and whatnot. But one random, Frankenberry ass looking kid almost blew Donald Trump's head off. Like one person. Now, that is, if he would have succeeded, that would have changed the course of history. And arguably, his failure may have done just that. But that was like one random fuck who had it in his head, like, okay, I'm going to go do this. And most people probably would have thought that something like that was impossible to do in the modern day. But somebody almost did it. Now, most other things that people are aspiring to on one level or another, people look at it from the perspective of, changing an entire system. But sometimes you can do things that are, maybe not changing the whole system in one fucking move, but maybe you are doing things that will, let's just say, motivate people to make changes, or, who the fuck knows? I think that this attitude of like, oh, I'm just one person, what can I do? I mean, I understand where that comes from. You see how complex the world is. You see how many people are in it. You see how hard it is sometimes to make long lasting changes and, effect in the world. But at the same time, a lot of things have been created through the actions of one person. And you can think of so many fucking examples, you know what I mean? There's you have to take your shoes off at the airport because one guy tried to fucking put a bomb in his shoe once. And you might not think of that as super significant, but it's something that affects you every day. So I think more than anything, when you look back at the course of history, it doesn't seem like incrementalism really helps much or changes much. It seems more like when you look back through history, a lot of times, yes, incremental change has happened, and incremental changes have built up to larger scale changes over time, but there's been a lot of times where things have just changed because one person went out and did something and kind of, maybe changed the course of history in a way that you might think is significant or insignificant. So, if somebody says oh, what can one person do? I would say fucking potentially a lot. But if you have the attitude of oh, I'm just one person, I'm not going to change anything, then essentially you're limiting yourself with that thought.
You're just giving up at that point.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Whoa. I read one of the headlines for this article. The Ben and Jerry's guy got removed from the Senate.
That's the next thing here. Let me just pull it up. Yeah.
Based.
You may have seen this video. Let me play it here.
Members of the audience are reminded disrupt.
So the guy from Ben and Jerry's, Ben himself, is in a congressional meeting with RFK, and he's standing up and saying, Congress sends the bombs that kill children in Gaza and pays for it with cuts to Medicaid, and then he gets thrown out.
Members of the audience are reminded disruptions will not be permitted while the committee conducts its business.
Oh, and he gets dragged out.
Asked to remove.
Yep, he gets dragged out by the Capitol Police.
The individuals.
It's how that one senator got kicked out during the State of the Union earlier this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that people are standing up, but that's the bare minimum that people should be doing,
Seriously. It looks like Andrew Tate.
Move down the hallway. If you stop, you will be arrested.
Oh, he got arrested?
By buying bombs and pays for it by kicking kids off Medicaid in the U.S.
Ben, what are you calling for the Congress and senators to do for Gaza?
They need to let food into Gaza. They need to let food into starving kids. Congress is paying to bomb poor kids in Gaza and paying for it by kicking poor kids off Medicaid in the U.S.
Yeah. It's it's pretty crazy when the namesake of, a fucking ice cream company has to come out and be more morally, conscious and responsible than pretty much anybody in US politics aside from a handful of politicians. It's very fucking weird, to be honest.
I didn't have this on my 2025 bingo card.
The bar is very low.
Yeah, Ben Cohen of Ben and Jerry's fame comes out and is protesting the Gaza genocide in a U.S. congressional hearing. The funny thing too is at the beginning of this clip, if anybody's curious, you can go look it up. You see RFK shit himself, probably because like multiple members of his family have been assassinated. He's in this meeting. Look. So this is RFK here, and then when they stand up in the hearing and start yelling like their protests, he looks like he looks like he's about to shit himself. He's like, oh,
He's startled.
There was a time before he was in this current admin where he was like running years ago, and then somebody had him on a podcast, and then like the power went out and the lights went out, and he's like, "Oh, they're here! They're trying to kill me!" I mean, it's like, yeah, fair enough. Multiple members of his family have been assassinated, but you know,
Well, multiple
He's
members,
also schizo.
I know.
multiple members of his family were killed because they were, proposing like progressive change.
They
you
were
know?
actually important people, unlike him.
Yeah, they weren't trying to deny.
It's like Mary Trump.
Yeah, they weren't trying to deny like young men the COVID vaccine. I think the age is like anyone below 65 now. They're just not going to provide free COVID vaccines now because of RFK.
We
When
talked
am I
about
gonna
this,
get my raw milk?
Oh, you can buy that at local Walmart now.
Oh, you fucking kidding me?
No, I'm not. I've seen unpasteurized milk in grocery stores where I'm at.
Fucking weird. Yeah, another thing too, we talked about this in a previous episode, but RFK and Trump, they're trying to take away the fucking federally provided Narcan that like EMTs carry with them and shit. And it's like RFK was a fucking heroin addict. He knows this stuff saves lives, but he's like, nope, fuck these people. It's encouraging them to do heroin, so we need to take it away.
Especially with the fentanyl crisis going on, you know.
Yeah, you're right. It's not
just
even just heroin. Yeah,
deliberate,
all those opioids.
It's just deliberately evil.
Yeah, they essentially want to kill people. As far as I'm concerned, like they just
'Cause
want to
it
kill
gives
people.
gives them a sense of power, a sense of control, and it's like they fucking hate them. So
Yeah, no, it's true. They hate they literally hate the average person.
yep.
Like, no, you don't deserve to live.
Have you already heard that so many people in like Kentucky have already died because of defunding weather services? They're not able to send as many like weather balloons up in the air to
And there's like
be able to
a-
track storms.
There's like a lot of tornadoes over there.
Yeah, actually, people are saying because of climate change, Tornado Alley is starting to shift more east.
Oh boy.
Dude, his own base is gonna get hit the fucking hardest.
Yeah, they're fucked.
Yeah,
They really are. Seriously.
the ultimate fell for it again award is going to go to them.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. We have an article here out of Poland from a platform called Notes from Poland. Poland launches free preventative healthcare program for people aged 20 and up.
Hold on, why do they spell program like that? Look at
Some
that.
fancy European.
I believe that's the English spelling.
Ew. Disgusting.
Poland has launched a new free health screening program for people aged 20 and above, aiming to boost early detection of problems and promote preventative care. The new initiative, called something in Polish that I will not attempt to pronounce because I'm going to fuck it up, which means My Health in English, broadens the eligibility of a similar earlier plan, which was available only to people over the age of 40. Unlike the previous program, which offered a one-off set of checks, the new program can be used regularly once every 5 years for those aged 20 to 49, and once every 3 years for those older than that. Also now includes a follow-up consultation with a doctor.
Does Poland have like a Medicare for all system?
Apparently,
so
they
fucking
have a
crazy.
universal healthcare program.
Yeah, I think most
Even-
of Europe does.
Even Eastern Europe.
Yeah, I
has-
think Russia has universal health care. It's not like good, but
Still,
it exists. The fundamental system is there. Yeah.
they understand, even as backwards as they are, that healthcare is a human right.
According to Article 68 of the Polish Constitution, everyone has a right to have access to healthcare.
It's a part of their constitution.
Citizens are granted equal access to the publicly funded healthcare system. In particular, the government is obliged to provide free healthcare to young children, pregnant women, disabled people, and the elderly. However, they also have extensive use of private healthcare in Poland. Patients who are uninsured have to pay the full cost of medical services. Also says here, they have a publicly funded healthcare system called the National Health Fund, which is free for all the citizens of Poland if they fall into the insured category, usually meaning that they have health insurance paid for by their employer or are the spouse or child of an insured person. 40% declared use of both private and public health services. 37% use only public health care, and 7% use only private healthcare services.
Still better than our system.
Yeah, it says here that most people who use private healthcare pretty much use it to jump the lines for public healthcare services. Probably, I mean, it sounds like it's better than America, though.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like they have breakdowns here of like all the stuff that's included here.
Dude, and to a lot of Americans, like that shit's just normal.
Yeah, like I think the law is basically now that you guys have, like, it's like, oh yeah, we have Obamacare, which is what you essentially have to buy private healthcare.
Yes, you have to buy healthcare, but if you have dependents, they can be covered until like the age of 26. Mm-hmm. And also, it had some stuff about pre-existing conditions as well. So like you can't be denied coverage because of like facial acne or something weird that the insurance companies would deny you coverage over.
And just something absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
Okay. We have another article here from Politico.
Can you scroll back up to this picture?
Yeah.
How out of place he looks.
He looks unhappy.
He's just droopy.
Miserable. Yeah.
You've got this young dude. I think this is Mohammed bin Salman, right? MBS?
Yeah.
I don't think he likes being just out in the fucking
Out in the
sun.
heat.
Yeah.
He's worried about getting shot again.
Well, I was told today by one of my friends at work that a lot of these countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, they're safe, but they're safe because of the consequences, right? So like, Saudi Arabia is one of those places like you steal something, you get your hand chopped off, stuff like that. So,
yeah. That's like how the Soviet Union had like really low crime because if you were caught, there was like 100% conviction rate. Like,
yeah, you go to a gulag.
Yep.
In Siberia.
And it was like a stain on like your family. And
I think it's similar to Saudi Arabia then. Something like that.
So the title of the article is Trump's Trip Lays Bare a Stark Advantage Some Arab States Have Over Israel. As word spread that the Arab country of Qatar may give President Trump a luxury airplane, Israeli citizens passed around a suggestion in group chats on how to match that offer, giving Trump his own parking spot in the traffic nightmare that is Tel Aviv. A parking spot? What?
Also, group chats sound really secure.
Yeah. I think they're just talking about, like, I'm pretty sure they're talking about, like, just random Israeli Telegram groups that, like, people are just talking shit in.
Yeah, that sounds like a joke.
Yeah, it even says here that it's a joke, yeah. It underscored a reality that's dawning on Israelis like never before as Trump tours the Middle East this week. Compared with many of its neighbors, Israel doesn't have much in the way of tangible financial benefits to offer a U.S. president whose preferred form of statecraft is economic. Yeah, that's being generous. His preferred form of statecraft is economic. That's a very generous and very soft way of saying he's a corrupt piece of shit and you need to bribe him.
Exactly.
You need to give him the biggest bribe possible or else he won't give a fuck. We can talk about that for a second too. What are they calling it? The palace in the sky that Qatar wants to give to Trump, or Qatar, I should say.
The bribe that Israel is giving Trump currently to continue funding the war in Gaza is, hey, once we kill everyone in Gaza, we will let you build hotels there and make money off of it.
Which is really, compared to like what other people are offering him, it's a terrible offer. Like it's not even much of an offer. It's like, oh, we'll let you build a Trump Tower here. Like really what they're probably doing right now is funneling as much money to him as possible through fucking the Trump coin and whatever.
Well, Miriam Adelson already has given him like what, $100 million?
Something like that, yeah. A fuck ton of money. When her husband was still alive, you know, both of them have just given him so much fucking money over the years. Trump doesn't really give a shit at this point, though. Like, he's president. He knows that any further attempts to have like more terms down the line are going to probably cause a civil war, at the very least.
Or he's just not going to live long enough to see a second term or a third term, you know.
Mm-hmm. He's going fucking sicko mode. He's doing whatever the fuck he wants right now.
I don't know why though. Like I don't understand like the billionaire mindset of, hey, I have all of the money that I could ever possibly spend, so let's just, you know, keep getting more and more and more.
We don't understand it because we're not like insanely obsessed with money like that, but we're also not like egotistical on that level. I think a huge part of all of this comes from like the egotism of people like Trump and Elon. And they're so fucking stupid, but they have such massive egos that they think that they can solve every problem. Like, I think this is their stupid, evil guy way of like, I'm trying to save the world. I'm actually, you know, doing everyone a favor here. Like, I'm actually like fixing everything. I think that's really what's going on in their heads.
How do they justify this though? Because like what he's doing is he's cutting like $800 billion from Medicare or Medicaid, basically effectively making it useless.
I mean, he doesn't think that that's something that people should have.
He's defunding FEMA. He's abolishing the Department of Education. Everything that's being done is just a net negative.
I mean, he loves the poorly educated. He's told you before.
And not only that, like he's increasing the deficit too. Like they have to raise the debt ceiling like another $4 trillion.
Gord, you don't understand though. With the tariffs, everyone's going to be rich.
But that's not how it works, though.
No, Gord, you're trying to make too much sense of this. Okay, this is 4D chess. Okay, you got to trust the plan. You got to just trust. You got to trust the plan. You got to paint yourself orange.
Okay. I think this is what's happening. I think Trump hates humanity. Ever since January 6th happened to him, ever since he lost the election, and ever since someone tried to assassinate him, I think he genuinely dislikes us, and I think that he thinks that we need to be put in our place, and that we need to be like a servant class, you know, other than what we are currently. You know, we're still kind of a servant class. You know, we're a worker class, but I don't know. I think he wants to cripple us even more because of just spite.
I think you're correct on some level. I think Trump is motivated more than anything else. He's motivated by spite.
Spite, greed.
Yeah. He's extremely reactionary.
Just like any other authoritarian leader, like Kim Jong.
I think Sudafed is fried his fucking brain.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like doing all the uppers that he could get his hands on since like what, the 90s when he was taking
poisoned his mind with McDonald's. Too many Big Macs.
Did you see that one meme? Did you see that one meme, right, where they said like the Saudi prince had like a mobile McDonald's pull up to the palace?
Oh yeah, dude, I was dying. That's fucking fantastic.
I thought that was real. Apparently, it was fake news.
Yeah, that's what we were saying when we were talking about it, right? It's like, you know, people keep sharing this around. Let's see if it's actually real or fake. Let's actually Google it. I want to know for sure. Trump's mobile McDonald's. All right, fact check. Let's go. Trump's tactical burger unit. Wait, meal team 6.
Yeah, this
Happy
is a
meal
meme.
team. Happy meal team 6.
It's like a rock star bit. Like
This is too funny, dude.
It's like the Republican like Space Rangers or whatever. Like,
okay, Snopes says that it's a mixture of true and false.
What?
In May 2025, as Trump toured the Middle East, claims circulated that Saudi Arabia provided a mobile McDonald's food trucks for the president's visits. Claims stemmed from a video recorded by Mike W., a journalist with the Israeli outlet I-24 News. I think that's what that is, yeah. Hold on. Pull this up here. It's a mobile McDonald's.
These are some halal burgers.
did you say halal burgers?
Yeah. I was thinking about whether or not they actually like got bacon for him so you could have like a bacon cheeseburger.
So the
Probably
video was real. The truck appeared at the Media Oasis, an event organized by the Saudi Ministry of Media for journalists covering Trump's visit. Some reports cited a White House official who confirmed that the truck sighting in Riyadh was real, but did not comment on the truck's purpose. I think we can all tell what the truck's purpose was. It was to serve McDonald's. I think that was pretty clear. It's a mobile McDonald's, so all the fat Americans can get their greasy burgers and their Diet Cokes. So let's get back to this fucking article here. American presidents from both parties have long offered near unconditional support for Israel, but Trump has famously brought a far more transactional and some argue corrupt approach to the presidency. Wait, what? Are they saying that Trump is corrupt here?
No,
I don't know about that.
be.
Especially in his second term. Oh, yes. He wants deals, and more deals, whether it's to materially aid the American people or himself and his family. Definitely the latter. Countries such as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, all of which Trump is visiting this week, are offering to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in the U.S., let their affiliated companies ink deals with Trump family businesses, and purchase mind-boggling amounts of American weapons. On Tuesday, Saudi Arabia alone pledged to invest $600 billion in the U.S., including $142 billion in arms sales. God damn. Israel, on the other hand,
in the Middle East.
Wait, sorry, what'd you say?
Our greatest ally in the Middle East.
Israel, on the other hand, relies on billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars every year to help it buy weapons, and it must soon renegotiate a major deal involving that military aid. It is not a petrostate, a main reason it lacks the riches of the Gulf Arab countries.
See, Israel, you need to step up. Like, you see Saudi Arabia here, they're giving us money. Why?
Yeah.
We're giving you money.
The reason that I pulled this story is like, this is an indication that Israel might actually be losing favor with the U.S. because Trump is so like money minded that he's like, why the fuck are we helping these losers? They're not giving us anything. We're just giving them a bunch of money, which is like, yeah, you know what? Fair enough.
And then Qatar, another oil rich country, is like, hey, here you go, $400 million jet. Alice in the
Either
sky.
of you like looked at like what's going on with that jet?
No.
It's fucking crazy. I've seen some people going into conversations about how much it's going to cost for them to retrofit it, and then that led to another conversation that I was looking at about how they've been attempting to get a new Air Force One for like a while, and it's just been a fucking disaster. I think the one that they're using is like 30 years old or something.
I heard that they couldn't use the Qatari jet as Air Force One because of one, security risk, but also because of some technical issues.
Some people I've seen take this with a grain of salt, but I've seen some people claiming that it is currently already being retrofitted and modified to fit the standards that they require of Air Force One.
They still have to take it apart, piece by piece, and then put it back together because, there could be bugs in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. The thing is, this administration is so fucking stupid and incompetent that I don't know, dude. Like they're doing this in the first place. Like they might forgo that and be like, yeah, it's fine. We'll wave it with this wand. It'll tell us if there's any bugs.
Qatar, I trust Qatar.
Everything's computer inside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if the plane had its own like McDonald's inside too.
It's where the 5 million of the 400 million came from. We put Ronald McDonald in it, and he's in the back flipping burgers. I love this part of the article. Israel has strengths, including its political connections in Washington, its security, technological, and intelligence cooperation with the U.S., and the sheer history of partnership. If you actually unpack what's being said there, it's like, yeah, Israel still has a lot of strength, though, because it's got, like, fucking blackmail and dirt on, like, every single person in Washington. Like, yeah. Okay.
Right. But if it came out, though, that Jeffrey Epstein was Mossad, right? Which more than likely,
I mean,
he
was. Dude, Dershowitz at this point is saying that he was. You know what the funniest thing was? A minor aside, but Dershowitz came out and he's like, "Yeah, he was Middle Eastern intelligence." Like, oh, really? What Middle Eastern country? Like a fucking joke, dude. What were you gonna say though? Like, if it comes out that he was Mossad, then what? Like, what do you think the actual consequence would be? Like, there's been no consequences for anything that's happened so far, pretty much.
There's a fuck ton of like hush money, so
yeah,
there's no accountability. Like,
hush money is one part of the equation, right? But who knows how much information is being like dangled above any one of these motherfuckers' heads?
Bro,
like
did you
RFK, for example?
Oh, there's a lot on RFK, I guarantee it. But did you see that Kash Patel had to say that that Jeffrey Epstein's death was ruled as a suicide and is officially a suicide?
Yeah, that's such bullshit.
I want to go back and see what Kash Patel was saying before he became director.
I know.
I guarantee it was something different.
Dan Bongina, he was saying fucking, what everyone else was saying, which was that it clearly was not a suicide. Now him and Kash Patel are like, oh yeah, it was a suicide. Don't look into it. Don't talk about it. Let's see. Where were we in this article?
We don't even get to see crime scene images or anything.
They've shared some stuff
since fucking suppressed.
They've shared some stuff since then, but none of the evidence it makes any sense, and
it's not conclusive.
I mean, in my mind, it's pretty fucking conclusive that he didn't kill himself. Like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
Like, they talk about what was actually in that cell. Like, they're saying, I think they said that he used his sheets to tie some sort of maybe not a noose, but something to essentially choke himself. And then he threw himself from the top bunk or something, and the force from that broke his neck. But what he actually had to potentially use to choke himself with or hang himself or whatever the fuck they want to say he did. That it's just not feasible. It's because he was basically put in a cell that's for people who are on suicide watch, because they claim that he tried to kill himself right before that. I think I actually read something recently that claimed that somebody actually tried to kill him. He did not try and kill himself. Somebody tried to kill him. It's just all so fucking sketchy. Let me come back to the article here. When it comes to this U.S. president and this moment, the lack of Israeli economic offerings poses a potential disadvantage in its ability to influence Trump. And it doesn't help that Israel is a country with constant complex needs. An Israeli analyst is quoted as saying, "Trump is about Trump and America first." There's a caveat in their comments by stressing that economics is just one of many dimensions in the U.S.-Israel relationship, but they pointed out he's going to the Arab countries and they're treating him like royalty. There's a Trump golf course, a hotel, a plane, all of these things. It's a question of at what point do they want to use his economic leverage they have with him to ask to please curb Israel and Gaza in Iran and stabilize the region. It doesn't seem like they care that much. It seems like it's on their mind, but they're more kind of concerned about other things, mainly themselves. There are signs that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is aware that the Arab countries may have growing sway. Word leaked Monday that Netanyahu had told Israeli lawmakers his country needed to wean itself off of U.S. military aid, which amounts to some $4 billion a year. $4 billion a year. Holy shit, dude. Doing so could please Trump as well as a strain within the Republican Party that questions U.S. benevolence towards Israel. Trump and many of his supporters have broadly pushed the idea that America's allies should spend more of their funds on their own defense. Netanyahu's reported comments also come as both countries begin to think through what will follow the 10-year agreement between the U.S. and Israel on foreign military aid that expires in 2028. But yeah, like I said before, I pulled this because I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking like, please God, let this be true. Like, if Israel stops receiving all this fucking money from the US, because they essentially can't continue on like they are without it. Let's fucking hope it's gonna do something.
God, it would be so fucking funny if that's what happened. If Trump is like, yeah, no.
Yeah, you guys aren't giving me enough. You guys are only take. You're not giving me anything. I'm sorry, but you guys are losers. And he just cuts them off.
Where's my jet? Qatar gave me a jet. Where's my jet? From you.
Well, what they're trying to do now is they're trying to be like his advisors. They've convinced him to do like Iron Dome, but for America, which makes no fucking sense.
They're talking about doing a Golden Dome, which awful name, by the way.
Yeah, it just wouldn't work from what I've heard. Like, it works for Israel on some level because they have like these shitty rockets being fired at them that are on no way comparable to like ICBMs that other countries would be firing at America. And also Israel's way smaller. Like, it's just not feasible for, the lower 48 to be protecting themselves when it's such a fucking massive area.
Golden Dome. That just sounds like really good head. Sorry. I had to get that out.
I was thinking that too. Like, when I hear Golden Dome, it sounds like something that would pop up on like Urban Dictionary that your friend would tell you to look up back in the day. Look up Golden Dome, bro. It's like blue waffle. Like, I don't know. Some shit like it sounds like some weird, like, obscure, like sex position or something.
I got some Golden Dome.
They gave it a Golden Dome. Oh, no. I figured out what Golden Dome would be. Ugh.
What would it be, if you don't mind sharing?
Golden Dome, because based on like, the kind of shit that you fucking see on like Urban Dictionary back in the day, I feel like Golden Dome would be like getting head while like whoever's sucking your dick has like,
oh, like you,
I guess, I don't know, some shit like, I don't know. I was thinking of, because you're saying like dome, like getting head, and I was like golden, like that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Well, my first thought was like really good head, right? Like, this is some like eyes are rolling back of your head, you nut, but she keep on sucking, kind of,
like that meme. Who's getting the best head here?
Apparently Trump's getting really good head. That's why he keeps that one Laura Loomer lady around. I don't think Melania's doing it for him anymore.
There was a story recently where she was like going at Trump over something. I think it was actually over the plane thing. She's like, this is so corrupt, and listen, I would take a bullet for Trump, but it's like, okay.
I blow my dick off for Trump.
I would too. I would shoot my dick off in front of Ozzy Osbourne to protect his family.
Blow my dick off with a shotgun to save Donald Trump's grandkids.
Hey, y'all. I might have to tap out early again. Is that okay with y'all?
Do you got to head out now?
Yeah. I got ribs in the oven right now. I got to make a few sides real quick. All right. Yeah. I'll talk to y'all later.
Have a good one, bro. Talk to you later, dude.
See you.
All right. So, Gord has had to step away a little early, but it's all good. We got a couple stories left. Not going to be a super long one tonight. We have here 2 more stories about old people in Congress. Well, I guess Joe Biden's not in Congress, but old people in the American government dying of cancer. So, we have a story from People here. Virginia Rep. Jerry Connolly dies at 75 after sharing cancer update, marking 3rd House Democrat death since March. Dude, they're all just dying.
They're getting way too fucking old. I mean, they were too old like 10 years ago. 15.
Yeah, a lot of them are in their 80s. Connolly, who was chosen to lead one of the most powerful House committees in January, recently announced he would not be seeking re-election due to his health. Probably a good decision, seeing as he died. Virginia Rep. Jerry Connolly died at the age of 75, weeks after announcing that his esophageal cancer had returned despite grueling treatments since his diagnosis in 2024. The family noted that Connolly lived his life to give back to others and make our community better. Well, you know what? I have to kind of fucking disagree on that, because he took the position from somebody else in that fucking House committee fucking seat, whatever. Fucking AOC would have been way better. But he fucking took that position because, according to him, it was his turn. So, fuck that guy. Clearly, he did not give a shit about actually fucking making anything better. because he made a fucking completely selfish decision to fucking occupy this seat for a few months and then die. What a fucking joke. There's a bunch of fucking other bullshit here. Let me find some actual real shit in this article, because a lot of it is just sucking off this guy who fucking, at the end of the day, is just a fucking loser. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shit on this guy after he dies of cancer, but a responsible move would have been like, hey, I'm dying of cancer, I'm gonna retire. But no, like, what is with these fucking Democrats who just can't leave? Like, they can't just be like, okay, I'm gonna retire. Like, they insist on continuing to do politics while they're fucking dying of cancer.
They just want to hold on to power for as long as they can.
Yep. No, it's actually disgusting.
Like, it really is, yeah.
When the 119th Congress began in January, Republicans narrowly controlled the chamber in a 219 to 215 split. As of Connolly's death on May 21st, Republicans control the chamber by a wider 220 to 212 margin. Like, see, this is what we were talking about. They are actively destroying the country by refusing to just fucking resign and allow somebody else to take their spot.
Them dying is giving the Republicans a head start, but it's lack of a better term. But
yeah, I get head start's one way of putting it. This has happened in the Supreme Court. This has happened in the House. This has happened in the Senate. It's just so I thought we weren't going to get too depressing with it today, but this is more depressing, not even just because this guy died, but it's more depressing because of like what this kind of says about the American political system. Connolly announced in April that he would not be seeking another term in Congress due to the return of his cancer, which he first disclosed after the November election. At the same time, he shared that his plans to step down from his leadership position as the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, a role he'd held since January after beating out New York Rep. AOC in an internal vote. The sun is setting on my time in public service, Connolly said in an April statement. The sun is setting. Dude, he died like less than a month later. What the fuck, dude? Days before his death, Connolly expressed his sadness over the news of former President Joe Biden's stage 4 prostate cancer diagnosis. You know what? Fuck talking more about this asshole. We've basically said what needs to be said. Let's go into the last story here, which is Joe Biden has aggressive prostate cancer that has spread to his bones, and he's likely hid this fact during part or all of his presidency. I don't even know what to say at this point, because it's unreal that they tried to fucking run this guy again, and they had to be like essentially battled with to convince him and his fucking aides and everything to just like, no, just stop. Let's see. Former U.S. President Joe Biden's cancer announcement revived questions on Monday about the extent of his health issues during his tenure, with President Donald Trump saying Biden should have been more transparent with the public. He said, "I'm surprised that the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time." I mean, Trump's kind of right about that.
That's a long time.
I think he misstated Biden's diagnosis though. Stage 9. I think they said it's stage 4. Stage 9.
He's such a fucking idiot.
Biden's office said he had been diagnosed on Friday with, quote, aggressive prostate cancer that had spread to his bones. Cancers that have spread or metastasized are considered stage 4. Yeah, there we go. The remarks by Trump and other Republicans captured the renewed focus on the health of the 82-year-old, fucking 82 years old, dude.
God.
82-year-old Democratic former president, with the publication of a book that details widespread concerns about Biden's mental acuity among aides and Democratic insiders as he pursued re-election in 2024. Excerpts from the book have prompted new questions about whether critical information was withheld from the American public about Biden's ability to serve in the White House. Biden's closest aides have dismissed those concerns, saying Biden was fully capable of making important decisions. You remember when he was president and they were basically like, yeah, he has good days and bad days. And, you know, he's only really good between like, 11 a.m. and like 3 p.m. Before or after that, he's basically useless.
He's nearing like nursing home age. I mean, he basically is.
Oh, he's there. 100%. All right, Mr. President, let's go get you into a home. A quote here from JD Vance. He asked, why didn't the American people have a better sense of his health picture? Why didn't the American people have more accurate information about what he was actually dealing with? This is serious stuff. Yeah, I mean, once again, JD Vance is probably the Antichrist, but he's right about that. A spokesperson for Biden did not return a request for comment. Biden has appeared on television to rebut accusations that his mental capacity has diminished since the 2021 to 2025 term. There is nothing to sustain that, he said on ABC's The View on May 8th. Biden, the oldest person ever to serve as president, was... Yeah, we know what happened. They also say here most prostate cancers are detected at an earlier stage. I would assume the former president gets a very thorough physical every year, said Dr. Chris George, medical director of the cancer program at Northwestern Health Network. It's sort of hard for me to believe that he's had a blood test within the past year that was normal. We have another guy, Dr. Herbert Lepper, a urologist at NYU Langone Health, said that given the available screening options, it is a bit unusual in the modern era to detect cancers at this late stage. Some 70% of prostate cancer cases were diagnosed before they spread to other organs, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. U.S. guidelines do not recommend annual blood screening for men over 70, and it is unclear whether the annual presidential exam would have included those tests. The new book, Original Sin, by journalists Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, put a spotlight on Biden's mental acuity in his final months in office. It was a mistake for Democrats to not listen to the voters earlier. U.S. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, a possible 2028 Democratic presidential candidate, said on NBC on Sunday. Biden faced no serious challenge for the 2024 Democratic nomination, and party leaders repeatedly vouched for his ability to serve a second four-year term, even though 74% of Americans in January 2024 thought he was too old for the job, according to Reuters Ipsos polling. Biden's cancer diagnosis drew an outpouring of sympathy from supporters and rivals alike. Biden thanked the public on behalf of his wife and himself for their support in a social media post released early on Monday. Cancer touches us all, Jack. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support, he said. Okay, even they're kind of like burying the lead here. It's kind of like, it's a little weird. Like, no, this guy was fucking dying the whole time. He was literally just dying the whole time of cancer. And they're covering it up.
During like the debates, like he could barely fucking speak.
Yeah, he said that they defeated Medicare or something. Do you remember that? Everyone was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Do you remember when he bit Jill's finger?
No.
There's like a clip of him, like Joe Biden like pointed at something and he just like leaned over and like bit her finger.
God.
There was actually something that people thought was like a Biden gaffe. I guess it was in a way, if this is true, but back in 2022 or 2023, there was a clip where he said, I have cancer. And it was while he was trying to mumble through a speech in public. So I remember that. And everyone at the time was like, oh yeah, another Joe Biden gaffe. You know, he's just fucking just saying nonsense. You know, there was another clip where he's like, I was the first black president. He said some shit like that.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look.
So everyone was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But it seems like he actually probably had cancer and let that slip, and people didn't realize.
It was a Freudian slip. But the thing, the kind of what we were talking about earlier, like, yeah, these fucks just hang on to power until they're on their fucking deathbed. And it's just, you know, aggravating to say the least.
Yeah, there's reporting out there that Joe Biden was still convinced that he could have beaten Trump. And it seemed like he was either being shown fake polls or straight up lying about what he was being shown. Because he said that he had internal polling that showed him beating Trump. But all of the internal polling while he was still president, just before he stepped down, said that he would have potentially lost worse than Kamala did.
Yeah, I saw that. I wouldn't doubt it because he's a fucking weaker candidate than she was.
Even Kamala, though, like, she could not bring herself to say that she was going to publicly be any different than Biden. It's basically like, I'm going to basically channel Biden for his effective second term. That's basically what she's doing.
Man, it's like the status quo doesn't fucking work anymore. They're stuck in their old fucking ways.
So
Fuck
many
them.
so many people in this system are still getting paid, political consultants, political advisors, people working in the deep state, contractors and whatnot. A lot of these people, these operatives, they think that they can just continue with, what was happening, not even just like pre-Biden, like pre-Trump. Like, they don't understand, like, it's over. Like, things need to rapidly change on a global scale. And, it's funny, I'll leave on this too. Like, I'm starting to see a lot of pushback on Americans who are like, shut the fuck up about this, you're not even American. It's like, okay, I think people are starting to realize, like, whether you like it or not, like, even if you're not American, you are being affected by what is happening politically in America and how that translates onto a global scale.
Like, we're an economic powerhouse. The world like relies on our fucking currency. Like,
Yep.
it's just so like obtuse. Like, God, Americans are so fucking dumb. Like,
America. I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about before. Like, so much of this is intentional. Like, they want people stupid and not engaged politically. Like, it seems like and this is changing too with Trump, because like we said before, they don't give a fuck anymore. Like, they're doing a lot of this stuff out in the open. But for a while, the American way was like, we're going to do everything behind the scenes to kind of try and control and manipulate things. But on the surface, we want people to really, really, really believe that they're free. We're going to have all these methods of convincing people that, no, you're actually living in the most free and, incredibly just or whatever society in the world. And people are starting to realize, like, it's just not true. Like, at one point, you could have made the case that, like, oh, America's fucked up, but you know what? They have that First Amendment, and it really is a beautiful thing. But that kind of doesn't seem to apply anymore. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's like, my brain keeps coming back to this phrase, and it's kind of, extremely brief and reductive and simple and doesn't really explain a whole lot, but my brain just keeps going back to, it's over. Like, the American empire is crumbling, but the pieces are all very, very high up. It's going to take them a while until they all hit the ground and turn to dust, and there's nothing left standing. But the pieces are falling. It's
going to take a lot of just like legal battles. Like, it is going to be a fucking bloodbath. Yeah, there's so many legal battles going on right now between like random judges and citizens in the Trump administration. Yep. And it's just the tip of the iceberg right now. Like, yeah, I mean, 6 months ago, I don't think anybody could have said that they would have quite known how this would all play out. So I would say that it's unwise at this point to try and make any predictions, but I don't think there's any coming back from this for America. I think America, looking at best, like, we're on a dime. Yeah. There is a fuck ton of uncertainty, and I jump back and forth from being optimistic to just being a fucking doomer, and I just don't know, Yeah, I don't blame you. We're just on thin fucking ice, and we could still make it out of it, but there's also now a greater chance that, we are fucked. So, yeah, I don't fucking know, like... I'm just hoping as a Canadian that this opens up more opportunities for my government and my people. I don't know if any benefits will necessarily trickle down to the people, but one can hope, I guess. We have a new prime minister, at least. We'll see how that goes. Maybe America and Canada might end up being like North and South Korea or something. I don't know if it'll ever quite be like that. In the future, hypothetically. Yeah, I will say that like the nationalism in Canada that has been like created, or at least the nationalism in Canada that has arisen or been exacerbated by what's been going on in America for a while is interesting to see, because it's definitely coming out way more. But wherever that goes and, however that can be sustained is yet to be seen, I guess, still. All right, well, I guess that's it for today. A little less depressing compared to some of our previous episodes, but still a reminder that we are living on an evil planet, of course.
Thank you for coming on, Trip. Gord had to step away a little early, but it is what it is. We were doing quite a bit of banter before we started recording, so. All right. Well, I will talk to you later, Tryptamine. Thank you for coming on. Thank you all for coming out, and you all have a good night. Take care.